Hey everyone, this is Pat from Central. Today in this screencast, I'm going to walk you through the room rental process, how you're going to log everything in the system so we can make sure that we get checks to all the facilities that you guys rent. If you haven't yet, now is definitely a great time to start reaching out to different facilities. There's a lot of great information on the internet about different things you should be looking at for facilities, who you should be contacting, and the sorts of pricing that you should be looking at. So you definitely want to check that out if you haven't done so already. But here in IvyBase is where you're going to log all the facilities that you talk to and ultimately the one that you choose. So at first, when you talk to a new facility, you're going to go over to the operations area of the IvyBase system and you're going to click on Add under Room Rentals. It's going to pull up a page here where you'll be able to put in all the information that you gathered from the conversation that you had. The facility name, the contact person, phone numbers, addresses, everything like that. You can move on down here to these specifics, and this is where you're going to talk about the rates that you proposed. The hourly rate here is probably the most common one that you'll see. Maybe $10 an hour, might be free, might be $15 an hour, whatever it is, you can put that in right there. If it's not hourly, if it's going to be a lump sum such as $200 for the whole summer, $300 for the whole summer, explain exactly what it is there. Total proposed hours for most of your courses are going to be 38 hours, which is the 18 hours of lecture and 20 hours of practice exams. So you want to put that in, and then for the proposed total rental fee, that's just the amount of hours times the hourly rates. You can put that in right there. Another important thing to make note of is the cancellation policy. If they do have some sort of cancellation policy where, a week before the class begins, you can't cancel, 2 weeks, whatever it is, you want to make note of it there. And same thing with the security deposit. If they do need any sort of deposit up front, you want to write exactly what it is and the date that they need it by. Continuing down on the form is the payment information. This is just exactly where we need to send the check to and the date that we need to send the check. You need to give us at least 7 to 10 days in advance. So make sure the pay by date is 7 to 10 days after whatever day it is today, because it does take some time to process that check. Continuing down here, we see the uploaded invoice. That is going to be for the facility that you ultimately do choose, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. But other than that, you can just fill out the rest of the information on the form. You can click on Save. I'm not going to do that here because I didn't fill out any information, but you'll click on Save and it'll be added to your report where you'll be able to see all the different facilities you are considering. That is right here underneath the Add button. When you click on Report, you'll see all the different facilities here. I have 5 that I've chosen. And now let's say I have made a final decision and I want to choose this facility right here, the ASDF. So I'm going to go back into it and hit Edit. And when I scroll back down to the bottom, there's a little checkbox here that says Chosen Facility. I want to check that off, hit Save. And now we want to make sure we add that into our profit and loss or our P&L statement. That is over here in the Financials section under P&L. You want to click on Add. The line item type in this case is an expense for room rental. The facility name is going to be the one that I've chosen, the ASDF, so I click that right here. It'll show me that the total rental fee is $380. That is the $10 an hour times 38 hours, so $380 total. And then this is an important part here, the invoice. If you do have an invoice from the facility, you can click on Invoice and you can upload the invoice that you have. As soon as you have that uploaded, that'll trigger us to send a check to the facility. If you don't have an invoice up front, if they can't provide it to you right away, you can click on Temporary Invoice and you can upload a temporary invoice. Now that form is on the intranet under the room rentals page, and you'll be able to fill out exactly which days you need the room, how much it's going to cost, the name of the facility, and the contact information. And you can just upload that right here. And then we will eventually need an actual invoice. So what you can do is, in the meantime, when you upload the temporary invoice, you can go back to the facility and try to get the real invoice, or just have them sign the temporary invoice for you. We need that within 2 weeks. So the due date is going to be 2 weeks after whatever today's date is. It's May 20th today, so you want to go ahead 2 weeks to the June 3rd. And we're going to be keeping track of that. We'll be able to see every single day which invoices are due on that day, and we'll follow up with you if you haven't provided the invoice or the signed temporary invoice at that time. Once you have all that, you can click on Save. Once again, I'm not going to save this, but you'll hit Save and it'll bring you back to your IvyBase homepage. One important thing to note is when you do eventually get that invoice, you're going to want to go back into the facility report that you have chosen. In this case was the ASDF, and you're going to upload the actual invoice that you get. So here on the page there's an area for uploaded invoice. So if you didn't upload it from the beginning, if you didn't have it on the day that you locked down the facility, say you got it a week later, you're going to go back in here and you're going to upload the actual invoice, and that'll show up in the system for us so we know that you have uploaded the invoice within that 2-week time frame. If you have any questions, there's a lot of great information on the intranet in the room rentals page, like I mentioned, or you can talk to your regional manager, or if you still have questions, you can email Central.